Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Forged Alliance Forever promotional series with me, your host, Gyle. Just a little quick note before I get into today's cast. If you guys are thinking of sending me a replay, and I sincerely hope you are because I love replays, please could you remember just to pop your name in the message so I know who to credit should I select your replay to be casted. Thank you very much. So on to today's game. It has been literally a trillion years since we did a Setons, so I know there's enough of you fanatics still kicking about to miss them. So this one's for you guys. Let's head on over to the infamous Setons Clutch and see how these guys are going to get on. Right, so taking a look at the teams up here at the top, I suppose we should really start at the front. We'll take a look at how this stacks up. For Team 1 at the top, we've got Syndicalist, and he's going Cybrin in the blue corner. And then up at the top beach for Team 1, we've got XBX Open. He's in the red corner. He's going Fim. And then their third teammate at the cliffs at the top is M&B. He's going Fim as well. Want to get as much Fim Navy out as possible on this one, Team 1. And at the rearguard position, backing it all up and going to be working on air, we've got BC's Dexter. So taking a look at Team 2 as we come down here to the front man, that's Lion, and you can see he's already making his way to the middle to get his hands on that valuable reclaim. He's going Fim. And then at the cliffs, we have a chap called Tunuakax, but I couldn't say that, so I found him on FAF literally 5 minutes ago and asked him how to pronounce that, and he said that it's actually SC account. He's just being difficult. So if you hear me referring to anyone as SC account in this game, it's actually this dude. I can't be bothered to try and pronounce that. So down at the beach for Team 2, we've got Jolly. He's going Fim, so we've got crazy amounts of Fim on this map. And down here at the very back, on air, we've got Styx, and he's going Aeon. I think I mentioned that BC Dexter was going Aeon at the back as well. So the two guys running the air show for the two teams are both going to be Aeon. So that's all fun and games. Knocking it up a notch to speed it up to the first contact as we see Lion and Syndicalist merge together in the middle to get their hands on that ever important reclaim. And as you guys will notice, I finally remembered to turn on Gaz UI, so we've got that little reclaim indicator up here to see how these guys get on, but it'll be very evident to see who gets the best out of this deal. Syndicalist seems to be a little bit further forward. He's going to grab the middle one first. His rear engineer got his own one, and of course this is where the biggest proportion of the mass is located, is in these two Salem class wrecks, and of course all of the Titans. And Syndicalist isn't going to fight him for the wreck of the Salem. He's just going to go around and start hoovering up the Titans. But the all-important factor is that Syndicalist may be getting a little bit more of his fair share, but all in all, they're both doing pretty well out of it. We've got some Thams coming up, or a Tham and a Selen up already for Lion, and putting some damage on Syndicalist's ACU. Syndicalist, of course, going Cybrin's got a slightly more tinfoil commander than Lion, but there's not a great deal of difference between them. It's like, what is that? It's like 500 HP, which really ain't all that, but it's enough to concern people. The Syndicalist not even bothering to focus on the smaller units, just kind of circling around, and finally decides to take out the Tham and the Selen. A lot of reinforcing Mantis coming in now for Syndicalist, however, but Lion's not immediately concerned. He's going to carry on hoovering up the last bits of the mass before he perhaps decides to withdraw into the water. That looks like that is where he's deciding to go. Syndicalist looking like he's trying to bump him a little bit with the Mantis, which is always a good idea if you feel like you've got your guy on the run. He's still heading further into enemy territory. Not one to lose his nerve too easily. This guy finally decides to make his way onto the beach and into the water, so we're not going to be seeing any immediate mess-ups at the opening phase. Looks like we're getting a very early drop over here from M&B. He's got a Zui drop loaded on this T1 transports heading over. He's got one waypoint there, and he's going to try and drop it in behind the main base of Lion. That's quite a nice area to get it. You can get that hydrocarbon, a lot of T1 power gens, all this factory, or a couple of T2 mass points already in place. T3, there's 4 T2 mass points in place for Lion. That's thanks to that awesome job he was doing hoovering up the mass. I imagine it's probably in a similar position. You can see score-wise very close to Syndicalist, so those guys are matching each other reasonably pound for pound. The question is, will this actually make landfall? It's been cottoned onto by the interceptors of Jolly. It will not make landfall, so that potential, nice little potential engagement is not going to happen. Even though he had some of his own defending inties there, it wasn't enough for him to clear the area. And the first thing that these engineers do as it crashes on their front doorstep is go, ooh, free mass, thank you, and promptly hoover it up, which is always nice to see. You can see a few scout planes out for BC's Dexter at the rear, and one out for MNB, and they're just hovering over the middle, getting as much early intel as they can. But look how far forward that little group of Mantis from Syndicalist are, taking out a mass point, working on that factory now. At least that rear guard section is working on a factory. Another one taking this mass point here, but this forward group is marching deep into Lion's territory, working on some engineers. It's a nice little run by. It'd be nice to take out this mass point as it's halfway done upgrading to T2, and indeed he's going to. Definitely an annoyance. Certainly do with a few more THAMs on the field for Lion at this point. Finally that goes pop. There's one Mantis left on the forward patrol, but this rear guard has taken out that factory. That is a nice little push from Syndicalist. Nice opening indeed. And you can see he's got a much more steady stream of units heading south. At least it seems to have a significantly larger number of ground forces than Lion does. Takes out a T1 radar. He's chasing down this engineer that's running for its life. Oh, run away, little engineer's not going to make it. He promptly goes pop. And Syndicalist decides to return, having snagged that, not wishing to push a bad situation now that Lion seems to have a decent number of THAMs on the field. Entering into the steady phase, we expect maybe perhaps a little bit of base building now to go on in the middle. You can see the note, the two side islands have been grabbed by their respective expected owners. We've got M and B worked on this side one, he's picked that up, and SC's account, he's grabbed the side one over on the left. So no cheeky maneuvers from the beaches, grabbing that too early or anything from the middle like that. It's all going very much as expected. Another drop happening now from NNB. He's determined to get some Zooies on the ground in enemy territory, and he's working on it right down at the bottom of the map. He's going to skirt along the edge, and he's going to try and drop it in down here next to these three mass points. There are a couple of defending THAMs, but that's not going to be a match for that many Zooies. He can take out all those mass points and probably half of those engineers as well by the time that Jolly realizes what's going on. There's a couple of more back here by this factory that's continuously spewing them out while he's kind of working on a mix of engineers and land units. It all depends on what kind of radar coverage they've got. He's got no defending interceptors in the immediate vicinity. His own interceptors are kind of patrolling the front, hovering over Syndicalist, who's made the transition to T2 on his comm. He's working on a Cerberus turret. So this is the beginning of the lockdown phase in the middle. And finally, those troops get dropped off. Interestingly, he hasn't decided to drop it off on the main plateau. He's dropped off at the beach. Hasn't left him very far to go, and what could have been quite an exciting job, he does manage to pick out one of them, but I feel like he could have potentially launched a whole bunch of volleys and taken out all three of these T2s. Perhaps it might have been optimistic, but we're now getting an engagement up the front. Lion is moving forward and taking consistent fire from that Cerberus turret as he drops below the 8,000 hit point mark. He's trying to thin out the troops as best he can. Lovely overcharge there, picking up a huge horde of Mantis, combination of Mantis and Medusa in fact, and he's playing it very recklessly indeed, but he wants to utilize that overcharge as best he can. Another beautiful overcharge helps take a lot of hit points off that Cerberus turret, which finally goes down. Another one, however, right up further back next to Syndicalist, and those overcharges have helped him rank up, which has given him the leeway he's needed to stay in the fight. And now Syndicalist is having to retreat. So very nice work there from Lion indeed. Syndicalist is thinking about potentially withdrawing onto the beach. I don't think it's that critical as yet, but he definitely needs to think about withdrawing further up the land bridge, which is what he's doing. So a nice little engagement there, and it looks like we've got a little bit of a drop happening from XBX Open. He's heading over to the left-hand side. He's going to pass over a Thunderhead, so if a Count has got his eyes open for it, he will have seen that and will potentially be sending Interceptors to intercept, and yes, he is. But XBX Open knows that he's been spotted, doesn't want to risk it. He's dropped his troops, his Zoos off onto the water, and he's going to have to make the rest of the approach by sea, which is what he's doing. And if we see the waypoint, he's going straight in there and wants to launch an attack on the T2 naval factory of a Count that's just sitting there busy producing destroyers. And the sooner he gets rid of that, the better. However, there are one or two Thunderheads in... Actually, he might be producing Thunderheads from it. I think he probably is. But that can now circle and just pick off those Zooies. I think if he brings it back, he may well do that. He's got another one on return as he realizes that his naval factory is under threat. Another Cerberus turret up, but promptly about to go down for Syndicalist. It takes the last few shots from the reinforcing THAMs. And another one in the middle as well. So Syndicalist has been busy, but for all his work, it hasn't really paid off. He hasn't managed to secure anything. Some reinforcing Mantis, however, will help him get a grasp on the situation. And Lion decides to not push any more of a bad situation and withdraw some of his troops. Another little drop coming in from XBX Open. His main one up here has been more or less cleaned up, as we've got some T2 gunships coming in from a Count. And he's going to make the drop-off down here. So lots of Zooey drops going off left, right, and center. The ever-important T1 artillery drops the spam, which desperately need changing. Keep mentioning it until someone takes notice. I'm sorry if it's getting boring. But first volley away, he's going to pick up a few engineers. And it's all going to be about how he spreads those out. He's not going to get much done because the Stinger is immediately on the case. And he's going to be able to tidy that up. Might be able to pick up a couple of, maybe potentially a T2 power generator. If he knows it's there, he's probably going to go straight for that mass pump, I imagine. But once again, Syndicalist looking like he's losing the fight in the middle. And this looks distinctly like Lion has the upgraded cannon and it's firing. Its rate of fire is far too fast for it not to be. So Lion just bullying Syndicalist off the middle despite his attempts to try and turtle up a little bit. Has not gone as well as he had hoped. Looking at how the things are going on the T3 air front, Styx at the back has got a hell of a lot of assistance on that T3 air factory, starting to produce ASFs out of it. And it's very much a similar situation from BC's Dexter. Both of these guys know exactly what they're doing, obviously playing the rear guard. They have their build orders down, and they seem to be in very similar places. Perhaps, maybe Styx has a couple more ASFs on the field, but that's it. There's very little between them at this stage, so it's looking like a nice even game, which is what we like to see. Got a few T1 frigates out for M and B. They're just chilling off the shore, trying to get some fire into the land bridge as Lion makes his approach with his THAMs, causing whatever extra damage they can in the process. But got quite a lot of T1 PDs up for Syndicalist. He's trying to wall this off, and he's made the transition to T2 as well. You can see he's got some hoplites in the mix with his Mantis there. Be interesting to see what happens as this wave of THAMs get into range. He's probably going to think twice about hanging around once he noticed the gravity of the fire. He's got a couple of Cerberus turrets back there as well. Doesn't look like a good place to be a THAM at all. And I think you'll see them probably turn around, or at least group up closer to the commander, which is actually balls out, marching straight into the danger zone. Lion is not a timid guy by any stretch of the imagination. I've actually seen a radar given over to Styx, which is quite a good idea because he's clearly got the power at the back as he's working for air to run it, and it takes the pressure off Lion having to, now that he has to continually span out troops. He's going to be working on a shield generator now that he's made this progress. Doesn't want to push his luck too much, wants to settle up a forward fire base and start to turtle, I imagine, keep his commander safe. Next thing he's going to be getting is some T1 anti-air to deal with this bomber spam coming out from M and B, but I don't think that's going to be too much of a problem for much longer, judging by the number of ASFs that Styx now has in the area. In terms of sea, the right ocean looks relatively clear. We've got a little bit of a Zooey drop, actually, which I missed at the bottom right-hand corner. All of those T3 mass points for Jolly have gone down. And he's still got 4 which are making their way into enemy territory, making a beeline for what looks like this T3 mass pump over here. If they get there and take that out, that could be a bit of a tragedy for him. But definitely in terms of naval warfare, the upper ocean seems to be heating up quicker between XBX's open and SC's account. I've got a little bit of a drop, potentially mustering a few T2 transports full of potentially strikers or lobos. I can't tell just yet. And that seems to be heading up here, so we're getting a similar situation to what NMB's just done to Jolly, only this time it is account doing it to open. Question is, will he make landfall? There are a bunch of interceptors in the air. It's going to be crucial. He's going to need to drop it off quite quickly. I imagine they're going to home in, but he hasn't got enough of them. That should make landfall. And indeed it does. It's a mixture of mech marines and strikers, keeping a nice mix. And another one coming in while they pursue the empty transport. Another one is going to make landfall. And it's the dangerous time, of course, with the people not having radar coverage, but your opponents having access to decent resources. So lots of units coming in. It'd be great if he could pull south with some of these mech marines and tidy up all of this build capacity that's going to start spamming up T1 PDs. I don't think he's going to manage it. That is going to go online and start pummeling those forward forces. You can see how quickly he's working on it. He's prioritizing the T3 mass extractors, which, to be fair, is not a bad idea. That is going to hurt open, but it'd be nice if he could draw some of these further back, keep them alive, and take these mass pumps out. He's probably not going to win the battle down here now that at least one of these has gone online. A second one is about to go online as well. Take a quick look at what kind of range he can get out of range there. There is, however, now a T2 gunship on the scene, so he's not going to stay alive for very much longer. I think he might struggle to get that down. They just lack the DPS. I think it would be very unlikely for him to be able to save that. To be able to kill that in the time it takes open to destroy all those units. So that is a nice save from what could have been quite a catastrophe. Don't want to lose three T3 mass points if you can avoid it. Down here we're getting the first few engagements though in the bottom ocean between Jolly and M&B, both rocking FIM of course, both exceptionally deadly in terms of navy. We'll have a little bit of racial diversity in the northern ocean. XBX open of course going FIM versus UEF, generally understood to be of the four races the two most superior races in the naval scene. And account just trying to close open down, get the first few engagements on, but it's a lot of destroyers he's got in the mix back there. And open just trying to bring it in to put some fire on Lion, who somehow has managed to lose an awful lot of hit points since the last time, and he spotted the commander. That's why he was trying to push in with those destroyers, get that direct beam on, put as much fire in him as possible, but he's got it out of range and inside that shield, which will afford him some decent protection for the moment. We can see a similar trick has happened to the Omni sensor, which has gone up at the front here. Dexter has taken command of it because he will have the power to do so. But thanks to this little bit of pressure, Open finds his forward troops a little bit cornered in. He has managed to dispatch a huge heap of T1 frigates, but now he's got the Valiant destroyers to worry about. It's going to be a close match, but I think it could go either way at this point. Very even numbers of units. We have got reinforcing groups from both sides. Huge amounts of build capacity chilling out around these naval factors, or especially around this T3 one. We've got a Neptune, which is the T3 battle cruiser, out for account, and that's making his way into the fray, and that will decimate anything that happens to be hanging around right here at the moment. Open certainly doesn't seem to have an encounter for at the moment. He is working on sub-hunters though. Sub-hunters, one of the most awesome things in the Seraphim naval arsenal, and definitely one of the reasons they are as popular in naval battles as they are. But comparable numbers, it would seem, in terms of ASFs. We've got some solaces out for Styx working on this Navy on the right-hand side, and it's always nice to see the rearguard player assisting, and rather than just building ASFs and trying to work on the air game, but actually utilizing the air to some effect to assist his teammates. And certainly it looks like Jolly could possibly use it. It looks like he is slowly losing the naval game. Kind of hard to tell at this stage, but that does look like a slightly smaller band of troops. And of course we've got a bunch of shield gens in amongst the mix in M&B's little navy here, which will afford him some nice protection. A whole group of T1 bombers actually chilling. They're just taking off and making their way over. See if we can counter the slowdown a little bit by knocking it up a notch. But that's a horrible place for Styx to hang out. I really don't know why he's sending ASFs in one at a time to a battle in which he is behind on numbers. He may not have been initially at the engagement, but that's certainly gone better for Dexter. And he has won that, and that's going to hand over prioritization in the air to Team 1. Admittedly, though, Styx is producing them at an incredible rate. Oh my god, the back of my eyes, they have fallen off. That is brighter than the sun. That's a lot of engineers assisting. How many engineers has he got there? Take a look. 372 T1 engineers. That's insane. But that's what you do to get the spam moving like that. But, I mean, to reach the 21-minute mark and see everybody more or less still in it, it's always nice to see. Both the front players still in it. Lion has been working on some kind of an upgrade. He's currently paused. But, or at least he's paused on his own building, and he's got assistance coming in from those engineers. But Solace is coming in now for Styx once again. It'd be nice if he could focus down the submarine hunters in the back, which is probably what he's going to do. Away go the first groups of torpedoes. Just do so much damage. And Open promptly decides to move back, but those Solaces aren't going to be in the air for much longer as Dexter promptly engages with a vengeance and pops him out of the sky. There he goes into the ocean. But now this battle cruiser coming into the mix, acting as a little bit of a game changer. Fire, damn you. You see it just zapping those destroyers. Not having too much trouble there at all. And slowly but surely this little group from M&B is just building up, looking a little bit more secure than Jolly's navy. It's not a good situation to be in, but it's all up for grabs in the upper ocean top, or upper ocean I should say. And a little drop that Account is trying to get in, but I think it's been seen, and Account knows it's been seen. He's trying to get it back over here. Can't deposit these on water, of course, has to be on land. He's going to try and get it back to that island, but I don't think he's going to get any of them back. Promptly all popped, and that's pretty painful. Another one. They're getting pinged by Team 1, but Dexter, aware of the location of all of Styx ASFs, doesn't want to push a bad position, so doesn't engage right away, but could probably pop south, pick that up, and get out again. Now, it all depends on what their kind of view's like. He could easily pick that up. I don't know why he's not heading south. That has indeed been pinged by Team 1. A little bit of a pause war going on in the main game. That has been pinged. There's no way that is going to make landfall, especially not flying over the sub-hunters, which of course many people forget they can rise to the surface and shoot down planes. Incredible unit, one of my favorites. And M&B quite content at this point to just sit that navy off the side and pummel the front lines of Lion's base, who's actually started working on a chicken, but he's further behind from Syndicalist, of course, because the Monkey Lord is so much quicker and cheaper to build. That looks like that's getting to around the 35-40% mark of completion. And that could be a game changer in the middle. It's all going to come down to if Lion can actually get that spammed up. He's got one T2 PD at the front here. He's going to need more than that to stop the Monkey Lord. Account does have some stingers in the area, which will give him some kind of coverage, but it's going to be tricky. In the meantime, Open is continuing to push forward in the upper ocean with his sub-hunters. We've actually got a bunch of battleships, the Summits, out for Account, who tells me reliably that he loves the Summits, and he's ground firing the sub-hunters with his battleships and having great success. Look at that, 3 down, or at least 2, and 1 T1 sub, I think that was. And Open having to retreat with sub-hunters. And of course, the amount of shielding from these bulwarks offering UEF Navy excellent protection. But that's an effective little technique for anybody who feels that sub-hunters get away with far too much. You start pumping out those battleships, and if you're good with your predictive sort of, or you're good with your anticipatory skills, shall I say, you can work out where they're going to be and ground fire them to death. It's all going to come down to who's more effective at the micro, and I don't know what he can do about that. He needs to get in. I guess he could do is start producing a whole lot of mobile shield gens out, get them out there for his subs, which will give him some cover. The sooner he does that, the better. He's got a little forward naval factory online. He's producing engineers out there, just using them to hoover up these shipwrecks, giving him a little bit of extra mass boost. Some fire coming in from that battleship that Jolly has recently produced. He's trying to put some damage on this forward base from Syndicalist, but unfortunately for Team 2, that Monkey Lord is online. But it's not the end of the world, because look how quickly Lion has managed to spam up that chicken. I wouldn't be surprised if that chicken manages to get completed by the time that chicken gets anywhere near this base, which is perfect timing. So it doesn't look like either team is ready to capitulate at the front. We can see a huge quantity of sub-hunters engaging Account's forces. It's going to come down to how good Account is at his ground fire. Oh my god, 3 sub-hunters bite the dust, and Open just has to retreat again. Unbelievable seeing people with surface-only firing vessels counter sub-hunters quite this effectively. Take note, Subcom community. Oh my god. Very nice play indeed, and Open just hasn't got an answer for this at the moment. There's nothing he can really do. That Monkey Lord not deciding to engage there, aware of the presence of the chicken, and deciding that it is probably not the best idea to go messing around with it. Getting some T1 PD and T2 PD, obviously concerned about what that Monkey Lord is going to do in the future. They know it's coming for it. There's pinging going on of the chicken, and that'll be from Team 1's basically saying that chicken is clear, get the Monkey Lord in, and that's what he's doing. We've got some harms going down as well for Syndicalist, and I like that maneuver. That is going to help M&B a great deal, but he doesn't actually need it. Look at how effectively he is pushing back Jolly's navy. Jolly with a hell of a lot of destroyers in the mix, going after M&B's navies, but it's just too heavily shielded. He's got so many mobile shield gens in there, he can't get in there to do any damage, and there's literally only a handful in Jolly's fleet. Gotta like the chances there for Team 1. Monkey Lord coming into range now is going to be taking the first few rounds of fire from the T2 PD, and the rear sets of T2 PD are turning to engage. One microwave laser to a whole bank of plasma PD. Epic slowdown as the numbers reach insane amounts of units on this map. Monkey Lord no longer advancing, deciding to engage Lion's commander, but not going to get there. Lion chilling with 10,000 HP. He's like, yeah, nah, it's fine. Style it out. It's not a problem. Survives that with ease. And the navy of Jolly is just getting beat. This looks like it's going to be potentially a loss. There's another battleship on the scene for Jolly, just getting into range, but he's not producing enough stuff quickly enough to deal with this much spam. Shield generators have all run out of a cycle at the front. Another one is coming in to offer some protection. Want to try and pop those shield gens as quickly as possible while they're down. He just doesn't have enough lower order units in play. They've all been popped. There's a couple more coming in, but there's very little he can do about it. Jolly apologizing to Team 2, saying he didn't play well at all. He's basically out of the game. See if there's anything that they can do to assist him. Another sub-hunter down for open. Still no answer to this ground fire battleship spam. And he's promptly having to return around again. You can see he's starting to get some mobile shield gens in there, but it's going to be too little too late. Every time this happens, Account's navy is pushing closer to the beach up at the top. So it really looks like Team 1 have won the ocean on the bottom and Team 2 have won the ocean on the top. So still very even indeed. That chicken is wailing away as it's made its little run by into the back of Syndicalist's territory. Gonna pick up a nice T3 extractor here, another one here. See how many hit points they've got. 8,400. Takes such a long time for them to go down. Slowdown is so epic, I can crank it up and it makes no difference to the speed of the game whatsoever. That gives you an idea of just how many units are on the field. I have to put a disclaimer in this one, illustrating to everybody quite how long this might take to watch because of the slowdown. T3 Factory looking like it is no longer going to be with us. He's being chased by 4 hoplites. They realise he just has to turn around and sneeze on them and they will die. But healthy numbers of ASFs on both sides. We take a look at how these guys are doing. 213 sitting there for Styx and 197, so not much to pick between the two teams in terms of air control at all. Taking a look at the economic situation. High 380s odd for Dexter and 375-ish for Styx. So very little between them indeed. Unit cap reached for Styx. That tells you just how many units are on the board. They have reached 1,000. And he's just donated a huge quantity of ASFs to SC account, which is a wise maneuver indeed. So he can carry on spewing out those ASFs. Look how many engineers he's got. It's brighter than the sun. That's insane. It's hurting the back of my eyes. He's got another one as well, spewing out at the same time. Is he working on gunships? No, he's working on ASFs from both. So things going rather nicely indeed. He's got a whole load of strat bombers out. The Shockers, T3 strat bombers for Aeon, trying to offer what assistance he can to Jolly now that he's lost that ocean. Of course, the problem is a huge proportion of that fleet composition is made up of cruisers, so it's a very bad place to be indeed if you're sitting in an aircraft right now. And getting a little bit of an engagement very far forward, working on some of the Shockers from Dexter, popping as many as they can. But we're going to get quite a big engagement here in the air, and this will be epic slowdown, I've no doubt whatsoever. Huge quantities of ASFs going to town on one another. And whoever, I don't know who's going to win this one. That is too close to call. See as the computer struggles to work out what's actually going to be happening next. This could be quite a crucial battle if either team can manage to come out ahead on this one. And it looks too close to call at the moment. Of course, they are dramatically closer to Dexter's production facilities than Styx's. We've actually got some Atlantis in the mix now as well, so they have got some nice air to... Well, some nice air, nice navy to sub-navy action going now in this upper lake for Team 2. So it is not just relying on ground fire anymore. That will afford him some kind of protection. And it looks like Dexter has won that air battle, which could be crucial. It's a bad time to lose control of the air, but of course the ability to produce, I think Styx has got a lot better manufacturing capabilities at the moment for ASF production. You look at the pace at which he's churning those out. I don't think that's a catastrophic loss just yet. And I can't believe how well Account has dealt with this. It's generally not the way to go. I mean, it's not the way most people tend to deal with it. Some people go mass Atlantis, others go mass T1 sub spam, trying to deal with the sub hunters if you're going UEF versus Seraphim. Of course, with mass Bulwark to offer as much protection as possible with the overlapping shields. But down here, Jolly gets finished off, handed all of his stuff over to Lion. He's out of the game. I think he may have been making the game run exceptionally slow for the rest of the players in this. They were certainly complaining a little bit earlier on, so that is why he felt like he's lost, so he is ducked out. Bunch of torpedoes, bombers coming in for open now that they feel they have some semblance of air control, but it's not all over yet in the air, as the second round of production of ASFs that have just been produced in the last few minutes from Styx enter the fray. Doesn't want to force a bad position though. He's definitely lower in number than Dexter, so doesn't end up engaging. But of course the bulwarks are very numerous, and there's a bunch of anti-air on the cruisers and of course the battleships. So don't know how effective those torpedo bombers are going to be. I guess at this point open fields, whatever he can do to help the situation is welcome. Oh, another two sub-hunters taken out by a very nice shell there. And Open is very quickly running out of sea units. But, of course, Team 2 have won the fight for the bottom ocean. And now M and B can sit off the shore and pummel what's left of Jolly's old base, which is now in the hands of Account and Lion. There's a lot of stuff in there. There's a nice quantum gateway there. There's a T3 power gen. And here we go. We have reached that point in the game. The nuke is popping up from over here. Dexter is opening fire. If we can see, have any idea where that's going. We don't as yet. That's a new chicken, I believe. He's only sitting on 19 kills. The further one did manage to wreck a whole bunch of damage. That's its wreck there. But it definitely caused a right royal ruckus. Syndicalist still in the game. His commander very close though. Oh my god, just as I say that. 900 hit points, doing some very nice micro indeed. One more plasma ball of death and he's gone. How is he still alive? Unbelievable. You can see some ground fire going on, but that basic gun isn't powerful enough to penetrate about 3 inches of water, it turns out. Who knew water was the shield, the effective shield against Seraphim that it was. But oh my god, that's the nuke, that's where it was headed. Lion has marched his commander up into the water, so that forward base that Lion has done so well to hold on to has finally gone down. He had a hell of a lot of build capacity in there as well, so that's a real shame for him. So the game changing massively as we pass the 32 minute mark. One player down for Team 2, and the forward base really just wrecked for Lion, but he managed to save his commander. That is the most important thing. He's still in the game. Whole bunch of solaces out now for Dexter, and Styx just feels like he can't get close. He knows he's still outnumbered in the sky, doesn't want to have to play catch up again. He's still trying to outproduce Dexter, and I think he will. Look at the rate at which they are spewing out of that factory. Currently, it's all Solaces coming out for Dexter, trying to deal with this spam from account. Take a look at what they're actually doing in ASF numbers. 149 out for Dexter and 152. So actually, if they were to get all those in a fight, come down to who can get the better surround, the better micro on in that fight is who's going to win it. There's hardly anything between them. Lots of Solaces in the sky, but the bulwarks are really going a long way to thwarting them. You can see they're all quite significantly damaged. There's one about to go down there. Indeed, there it goes. Just like to see a couple of these battleships throw some shells into this fleet, and indeed there it goes. Look at all that build capacity go up. It's about 10 engineers, 15 engineers right there, just went pop. Mind you, all of the shields are now down for account over his navy. I feel a little bit sorry for Lion. He's looking very isolated down here. His commander's relatively safe for the moment, but he's got 2 chickens coming in, one from Open and one from M&B, both making their way down the land bridge, while at the same time M&B's got a couple of battleships, a whole group of cruisers sieging the forward base and his recently acquired base, but a hell of a lot of Zuis. That's how Lion is going to try and counter this mess, and it is at least going to buy him some time because M&B is forced to move his surface fleet away from the shore for a little bit and engage that, and that's quite a cheap way of buying himself some time. We've got some support commanders in the mix as well for Lion, which is going to help him re-establish some more land factories, help him increase that Zui spam, and if he can hold on just long enough, I guess the plan would be to beat back this navy up here, hope that account can turn things around up here. But we've actually got an experimental bomber out for Open. Could cause untold damage. It looks like we've lost a few ships there from account. Styx was thinking about going after it with his ASFs, but he's still terrified of this bundle of fighters from Dexter. Of course, very difficult to get consistent runs with the experimental bomber unless you come right out, especially on moving naval targets. Much better to let it do a pass, get it out, and then come in with another one. And all the while it's fanning around above the surface fleet. It's taking a lot of excess fire, so it was down to about a quarter of its actual health, or a little over. Still not able to finish off the fleet of Open. And quite a decent amount of success coming out of these Zuis. Look at the amount he's managed to push back M&B's troops, while at the same time a switch up from Styx. He's got one of his factories, air factories, producing restorers. It's to help them, I guess, to alleviate the pressure on this right hand side. God knows it needs help. M&B going relatively unchallenged on his base, had very little to worry about at all, really. And we've got that assault bot, 19 kills that we saw hanging around in the middle earlier with barely any hit points left on him. He's only got 9k on there. It's less than a fat boy. Strolling towards this base. If he can get in unchallenged, might be able to cause some significant damage. Certainly if he gets in accompanied by some of these battleships. Speed it up to +10, but that's just not going to do anything. Actually makes sense. Might as well slow it down, because if and when this starts to thin out on troop numbers, suddenly the thing will fly. Can't remember the last time I even watched a game that was running this slowly, let alone cast one. Don't know if I ever have. Huge quantities of units from all players. Atlantis is getting involved now, working on some of the battleships from Open. And to Open's credit, for someone who's going up against a Count who's been so effective at dealing with his navy, he has lasted an incredibly long time against him. I am sufficiently impressed, put it that way. Slowly the hit points climb on this chicken as it makes its way towards shore. Doesn't want to take a full broadside, which just narrowly misses because it's going for that rear summit. probably do with reprioritizing the chicken if that gets into the base. Of course, the ionic storm will cause untold damage to the main base, but I think they'll be able to deal with it. Surely there'll be some solaces, some strat bombers or something they can bring to bear on it before it starts causing too much damage. Indeed, in comes a solace now. However, a bulwark's getting into range to give it some coverage, so those torpedoes will not impact on the assault bot. I don't think it somehow made it through, and the next round will, I imagine. He's doing what damage he can to the build capacity of Open before he goes down. Oh, 700 hit points, taking fire from PD on the shore. Hastily constructed, you can see all of the build orders. Finally that goes down, and those bulwarks sitting there to protect it are now in grave danger because of the submarine hunters that have recently spewed out of that naval factory. And that Zui spam that was so effective for a moment there is now having trouble, especially since there is chicken in the mix from M&B. That has marched right down the coast and is now going to start working on this side base. Lots of support commanders kicking around.
Strategic launch detected.
And there we go. We can see a mini nuke coming off the battleship, Seraphim battleship, just kicking around at the side. Interesting to see where that's going. It looks like it's heading to the back. That could be the power base for Styx, which is a fantastic target prioritization in my opinion. If he takes out all of that, we'll see where he's at currently on power. So even when he's producing, he's on plus 9,000 power. That's going to take out a lot of T3 power gens. Kaflooey. And he's alright when he's not producing fighters, but every time he starts building, you can see that drops down to minus 11,000 and promptly depletes the stores immediately. He needs to get on the case in terms of power generation. That is quite the blow. Definitely the right choice. Slow up the air producer, which is helping Team 2 stay in this. And somehow Open is still alive, although this fleet is knocking on his doorstep now. So many naval wrecks. There's Atlantis in there, battleship wrecks everywhere. Beautiful to see. See, even Styx has got some engineers out there reclaiming. Let's take a look at who's actually done the best on reclaim. Dexter sitting on 43,000, Styx sitting on 37,000, M&B 118,000. Open has been defeated. While I talk about Eco, how depressing. Caught, I guess, by some kind of shield outage, unless he's left. He says, I said GG. Didn't see a massive increase in account score either or, but certainly he was outbeaten by account. It was only a matter of time for his base was going to get wrecked anyway. And he had one in the clip in terms of nukes. I'm not sure why he didn't use it on this fleet. It's amazing to me how people hold on to their nukes in this game rather than using them as point defense. They're so useful, especially against naval units. They get all clustered up like that. It's very hard for the navies to escape. And this newly constructed base by this poor support commander, he's been working all day, and that's the thanks he gets. Chicken turns up out of the sea. It's always the way. Ruins your stuff. No pension for him. And you'd think, as with all of this stuff going pop, the game would start to increase in speed, but it just isn't the case. And the majority of that stuff has been put into Syndicalist's hands. So Syndicalist once again has a base for the first time in a long time. He's still kicking around though. Fair play to him. Been hanging out in this little pond down here. So
Strategic
many
launch
ASFs
detected.
on the field, and it's starting to turn into a little bit of a nuke spam, a nuke fest. And if Team 2 can't find a way of getting up some strat defense, strategic missile defense, this will be over for him, because this definitely looks like the way it's going. There's another nuke in the clip up here. There's another experimental bomber down here. And so just in terms of toys, Team 1 seems to have them. There is a Caesar that's making his way over to the right-hand side. Maybe wants to get a read on this chicken. Restorer's trying to take it down. But they're going to get absolutely hit by this huge swage of interceptors coming in. Another nuke going off. This Setons is unreal. And that is the one from open. This one is coming down the middle. Try and keep tabs on what's going on with the air fight down here and the nukes that are going off. Virtually impossible to keep tabs with everything that's going on. Another nuke going off, and that one is from that battleship. So it's 2 nukes that this battleship has got off now. He's got 60 kills. He could really do with taking it out. That nuke still pursuing down the middle. Interesting to see where that lands. The slowdown is unreal.
Launch detected.
I did used to have a decent computer, I promise. It's so full of replays. Another nuke going off. So Seraphim battleships is getting to that stage in the game where they really are coming into their own. And that ACU from Lion has been withdrawn by a transport from the side. We have got some strategic nuke defense, strategic missile defense in place for Team 1, thank goodness. Sorry, for Team 2, thank goodness. It's probably shooting down those nukes. A nuke going, so that nuke from the battleship's going sideways. Team 1 wanting to score at least 1 hit. That's going what looks like towards the side island. That's a good call. I mean, if your nukes aren't getting through, you might as well put them to some use. Caesar down here on the bottom trying to get rid of this nuisance battleship. But there's a whole group of interceptors, or sorry, ASFs from Dexter coming in now to try and finish it off. That will go down in less than 1 pass. That island has been annihilated at the top left. Caesar goes down. Styx coming in to try and finish off the large group of interceptors coming from Dexter. The experimental bomber from M&B is now in place and working on the forward section of units from Lion, which he still, to his credit, has managed to hold on to all of this despite being bombarded from the sea. He's had experimentals walking down the side of the land bridge. That is a complete ruddy mess. I don't know who's going to win that. So many ASS from Dexter, but there's a lot between Account and Styx as well. Massive shake. I have no idea what that's from. There's too much going on. Another chinking up here from Lion, making its way towards the former base from Open. Must be running at like -5 or something. This is painfully slow. Atlantis out the wazoo for Account. Should give him some decent production for air on his own, but I'm not sure if he's actually working on that or his ASFs that he's working with are just given to him. They are just given to him because they are Aeon. So they have just been handed over from Styx. And it's just impossible to tell who's going to win this. Lion has a few ASFs of himself. They're Aeon as well, so literally Styx is just dishing out ASFs as he reaches unit cap. Doesn't want to skimp on any of his own capacity, but over here that experimental bomber is coming in over Account's base. It's got a bomb away. He is producing some ASFs of his own, but that's not going to carry on for much longer as all that build capacity goes pop. Very nice pickup indeed. I'd like to see him work on these exposed fusions. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them just kicking around. One strategically placed bomb in the middle of that could do wonders. That's coming in though. And if he gets one on this rear production facility, which it looks like it's where he's heading, he could be all over for Team 2. And it looks like Dexter may have won the air fight as well, as Account comes in to try and defend the production facility. Oh my god! 405 kills on that experimental bomber. That is ridiculous. Account coming in to try and finish it off, but the damage is done. Even if that goes down now, that is worth it. There's no way Styx is going to be able to get the production capability back up to deal with that. And Account doesn't have enough ASFs to beat Dexter now anyway. And you could see the amount of speed up now in the game. All those engineers and ASFs that have bitten the dust. The computer is starting to breathe again. We've got a chicken in Team 2's territory coming down from M&B that has made its way across land. The old base from Jolly is history, and things looking ever so slightly bleak. We have got a chicken in place for Lion. He's made his way out into the central section of Team 1's base now. There's so much going on. Keeping tabs on it is an absolute nightmare. He's got a few shield gens in amongst with the chicken. Has M&B. He's making his way to the Restorer production facility on the hill here, and that could be the end of it. I like the tactic that Dexter is deciding to employ here. He's just going all out Mercy. He's cut ASF production and he's spamming Mercies towards
Strategic launch
that
detected.
assault bot. There is a juicy little power facility with a nuke launcher that's just let one go that chicken might be able to snag if it takes a left now. 88, 89 kills on it. Have to see where that nuke is headed. And that is a doomed production facility. A lot of engineers have managed to muster together a lot. Again, he's spamming out from that rear guard one. That production facility never went down. It was all engineers that went pop. He managed to tank it. But the forward one has gone. And that assault bot on 100 kills takes out a huge swathe of engineers, down to 13,000 hit points and falling. 145 kills, gets a huge rank up, so he's just made a beeline for the production facilities, and the constant rank up is allowing him to tank it again on 225 kills, just beasting the production facilities of Dexter. But finally Stick gets located and annihilated by strap bombers. It seemed, I can't be 100% certain, I hope you forgive me because there is too much going on. Still that chicken is alive, still Dexter trying to murder it with Mercies, but it has done a hell of a lot of damage. But Styx is out of the game, everything has been transferred over to account, but that chicken is still live in his territory. Get a handle on those engineers, it will be definitively over in the air game. I don't think they're going to be able to get back up on top of things anyway, but we've got a Maser comm, I think a tele Maser. I didn't see a transport going down for Syndicalist. He is working on spamming up T2 torpedoes. Account has got oodles of shield on him, but that has been mostly depleted. He's pretty upgraded. He's going to have to get out of there. In fact, that may have been what happened. Syndicalist may have done a little bit of a snipe, I'm not certain. Got torpedo bombers coming in. We can go back to regular screen. Syndicalist teleports in front of Account and promptly mazes his comm in the face. Oh my god, that is too cool. And Account goes down. It's only Lion left. Oh, that's amazing. Beautiful little maneuver. Syndicalist just chilling all game, feeling surrounded by oodles of dangerous stuff, and he's going to teleport back out of there before Ravagers can finish him off. I don't know where he went to, but oh my goodness, what a game. That is an outrageous Setons. I can see why it was sent in to me. Do apologize, can't remember offhand who has sent this in. I tell you what, I will put it in the description below. I might not even know whose in-game name it was. I'll put it his YouTube name in the description and credit him. But Lion going down now,
launch detected.
And that is the end of the game.
Strategic launch detected.
Very well played, all very entertaining to watch. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I really did. It's insane. I am absolutely floored. Keep the replays coming in, guys. Like I say, I can't always promise to cast them, but I promise I will take a look. That I can promise you. In the meantime, if you use Facebook and you haven't signed up to the Forged Alliance Forever page, we've got our own page. Do head on over there and like it. I have got my own page as well, so if you're interested in following me there, like my page as well. All of that is in the description below this video. I've also got the link there to Planetary Annihilation pre-order page. If you missed some of the bonuses and the access to the alpha and beta in the Kickstarter project, you can still get it if you purchase certain copies on the pre-alpha. So that is all there. The link is there for you to go and take a look at it. Check it out. But that's enough from me, guys. I'm going to get this uploaded, and I will see you maybe after the weekend. Probably not going to get any more up for the next couple of days. But I hope you guys stay well, stay safe, and I will see you soon. Gyle, signing out.